We've been doing watercolors and we've been doing it for months, but I know that as we go through little picture by little picture, the hardest thing is when we get to the blank page. I want to talk today about and do a watercolor with how to break the blank page. I'm Julie Torrens. Welcome. I have my Canson XL. I've got my Tim Holtz colors, but this is archival ink, and I'm going to head straight into the smoke. Now, I know that many of the people that follow me are mixed media artists and card makers. This is the oldest stamp that I believe I have. I just grabbed an old stamp. I'm thinking many of you have old stamps from your mixed media or from your card making, and just start putting some down on that paper. Can you see that? Let's do it again. And in my opinion, this is going to give you less anxiety over working on a blank page. Now I've got this one, which I know is from the 90s. I got this off of Amazon, and it's just some script writing. That's upside down. That's okay. We'll put this one right side up. But I'm just gonna put some marks, is what I'm doing. Let's see about here. All right. No rhyme, no reason. I'm just getting some marks on here. Now, this hopefully makes it just a little less scary. Now, let's do a floral because you like florals best. I've got this big, what do you call that? Spatula. I've got this, which is, something that we can use for making some lines. And I've got my student grade, and this is my little fan. You've seen it before. I did bring my palette, and I just opened myself up to some greens. Now, I know you're not seeing everything, but that's because I want you to be able to see this. Big brush, number 10, getting it wet. I'm going into the green. And I'm going to pick more than one green. And I'm just making some wet splashes, kind of in the middle and low. I'm rinsing, but I'm not worried if it's too rinsed. I didn't dry it off very much. And I'm going into what I hope is a totally different green. And if you don't have only but one green, well then grab the yellow. I can do that too. Let me grab a yellow. Why not? Yellow mixes nice with greens. And I'm still putting these dots and splots. All right, now I'm going to grab the credit card kind of thing, and I'm just going to make stems. There. Now, I'm just dabbing that off so I don't get green paint everywhere. I'm going to take a round brush. I'm going to wet it. Dab, dab on my paper towel. And now I'm going to just find some places, and I'm twisting it, and I'm making some leaves. I didn't even dry the ink. You can, or just let it sit for a minute. Okay, I like those. I'm rinsing the brush, going back to that big brush that I had, but this time I dabbed off the water, and I'm gonna see if I can make maybe some bigger leaves. Maybe I can, maybe I can't, but I'm just twisting, and there. All right, there's a variety, I would say. Good start. Now, I do want this to be a little bit dry. And just like that, it's dryish. Not completely dry. I'm not worried about it being completely dry. I just wanted it somewhat dry. It'll help the layers. All right, now back to that big old brush. Into these. And I'm going to pick some reds to start with. So I've got, this is a little bit of reds, mostly browns. Reds tends to lean towards warm reds. So this whole palette tends to run towards warmer. I'm pretty wet here. Grabbing some paint. I can tell I don't have enough water. I just grabbed a little bit more water. And let's see if I can get some splashes. I don't want too many. I'm going to add a little bit of water. I just put the tip in. Okay. Now I'm going to grab my smaller brush. I wet it and I dabbed. I'm going to make these just irregular shapes. But if you want to just make them all into bigger circles, go right ahead. But I'm just kind of maybe like a little bit like a forsythia might look like. These are fantasy flowers. I have no pre-thoughts. But you can see I'm not lifting a whole lot of green. If I am lifting any, I can't tell. If I miss one or two or 10 of the drips, I don't care. They're already starting to dry. Humidity is very low in the house. Now, some of these were done with a wetter brush. Some look a little more sketchy, and I think that's good. All right, pretty. Let's keep going. Got the brush, the bigger brush, wet. Going into a purple. Lots of water. And I'm going to turn this around and aim a little bit lower. But again, they're going to go everywhere, and I really don't care. Okay. Now, let's work with these. Wet, dab into the paper towel. And I see some water right here. I'm just going to knock that off. And I'm just going to make some like ovals. Maybe 2 ovals. I am not going complicated on purpose. Now, is this going to be the finest piece of art you've ever seen? No. Is it going to be pretty and is it going to be fun? I think so. Yeah, it's getting there already. I still have purple on the tip of my brush. So I'm just filling in maybe some places that I think could use another dot of purple. Why not? Okay, good. Now, another color. We've got a red and we've got a purple. So I don't want to go orange. I did yellow in the leaves. Do I want to do yellow again? Not really. A blue? Maybe. What have we got here? This is the browns here. Maybe a blue. There's a blue up here I've hardly ever used. Probably because it's so tucked in. I think it's kind of a teal now that it's wet. A little more water. All right. Now I'm going to hope for some little bit bigger of blobs, but I might get them, I might not. The closer you are to your paper, the bigger your drops will be. What do I think of that? One up here? Okay. Rinsing and dabbing it off, setting it aside, getting that little brush again. And for this one, I am going to go a little bit bigger, like this. I'm still kind of using that forsythia style. This is really quite a green. That's all right. That's all right. We can change it up a little bit. You'll see. Okay, now I'm going to go in with my liner brush. I'm going to grab a color in the red family again, right here, way up here. And while those green things are a little bit wet, I'm just going to put some lines coming out like this. Now you can see the red is getting a little bit lost. It doesn't matter. It's kind of turning it into a blue shade. Now we're back to red. And you know, that can just be the way light is hitting it. Did I get them all? I think so. All right. Now, I know that I have white. That's, I would call this the medium brush. If the brush we're using for making the blops, if that's large, this one's medium, and then that liner brush would be small. Right at the base of those red things, I'm just going to put a little white. It's too dry. I went dot dot in the water and I added a little more white. Yeah, now I'm just going in the white. I turned my brush, just like you turn a marker. Picking up some more white. All right, good. Very nice. All right, now I want a pink shade. So, medium brush, but look what happened to my white. I'm just gonna pick some of that blue up out of there. If I don't get it all, I don't care. Now, going into my palette, I am going to grab some of this white, put it right there. I realize you can't see it. It's white on white. Rinse. I'm going to add a little bit of red. And let's see if we get a pink. I can't even see where I put it. I think here. Yeah. All right. I want it to be a different color than what we have, and that looks almost identical to the color that we've got going on. So I'm just going into the white again. Okay. I'm going to rinse. I'm going to go into this yellow. It's going to give me some kind of an orangish color. Yep. It's a different color. I'm going to use this brush because it's full of pigment. It's nice and juicy. And I'm going to head for the middle. Okay. Rinse. And I'm going to find these dots. And I think I'm going to make a little bit more like circles now. But I'm being careful not to scrub too much in the same area that I already have been. And I'm just grabbing some of these orangish dots. Nice. Okay. It's looking good. Yes, I'm liking it. All right. Now what? Well, oh, I see some, like a pretty good clump of orange here. I'm just gonna rework. Here's some more. So we've done simpler shapes, in my opinion. They're simpler. Let's look at now just a little bit of detail. What do you say? All right. I've got my metallics. If you have them, great. If you don't, use what you have. I'm going to go ahead and hit them with some water because they take longer to activate. But I'm still going back to my fan, the fan paints. I've got my liner brush. And I think I'm going to start out working on these bigger tealy colored ones. And I'm going to pick a blue because they're kind of teal. I think this is kind of an ultramarine blue. And I'm just going to roll my brush because I don't want to splay it out. I don't want to spread it out. Okay. And I'm going to work far to near. And I'm just going to put some lines on the bottom to kind of bring it down to like a peak. Now I have to dip more in both water, in both water and pigment because this brush doesn't hold a lot. It's not designed to. So more water. More pigment. A little more pigment. This one got a little bit faint. As they dry, they shift, which means that they change. Lightening up a little bit is one of the main things that they'll do. Okay. I like that. How about these little red ones? Liner brush. I'm going into the gold. Oh, I know. We're getting all kinds of different ways going on. But I know a lot of you have metallics. Again, I'll start far, and I'm going to put lines all the way from the top of it to the bottom of the bloom. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing pretty good. Really happy to be at my desk. My family is sick. My son tested positive for that virus that was very common in 2019, 2020. I read recently that YouTube is getting sensitive again about how much we say that, so I'd rather not be demonetized. Have I got them all? I don't think so, but almost. That's pretty. All right. Rinsing and drying that brush off a little bit. I think I want to get a little bit specific with some stems. Now, these it would seem to me would have maybe a little bit bigger of stems. So I'm going to use again the liner brush. I'm just grabbing one of the greens that we started with. And again, I'm rolling in my pigment. And I may not get it all the way, you know, through the painting. But I don't want them to look like they're floating. And some of these can go on top of the flowers and lines. And some of them can go behind. But I need a little bit of water. Some of these just happen to pick up where we made some lines. And I'm looking now, like where up here can I drag one further down? Just for a little continuity. How we doing? Yeah, I think we did good with that. All right. Now, I think the next thing I want to do is I want to add some more leaves. Now, if you have a square brush, great. If you don't, use what you have. This is a $1 De La Rowney. I'm going to go into, I think it's kind of an olive green, and I'm just swipe, swipe, swipe. Swipe, swipe, swipe. A little more water. Okay. Now, some of these leaves are going to fall more in front, and that's what I want. So I'm going straight, twist, straight, over. A little more paint. Straight, twist, and back up. I'm going to start one in here. And I'm going to start one further down. A little bit of water. Leave it with a point. Another one. Okay, now I'm going to put a couple that are kind of coming up from behind. A little water. One more. All right, looking good. Yes, I'm liking it. Okay, let's give it a little dry. And we're dry. And I'm just going to push aside so I can move a little bit. I just have a regular old pencil, number 2 pencil. And I'm going to put some more details in, just in pencil. Like I'm going to put, and I'm going sketchy, a few lines in the middle of those bigger leaves. And I'm going to find some of these flowers, like this purple one, and just give it a little bit like sketching around the ovals. Now I'm going to go in here, I'm going darker, and I'm just going to connect up some of these ovals. Here's one. And I could bring a little something like that. Here's a bunch. Let's connect them up. I'm going to bring up a branch or stick or something and just kind of join them up. Good. Yep. I'm liking that really well. I am going to work a little bit on these green guys. And I'm going to put some petals towards the front of them. And then some that are behind. So I'm making like, there's 3 ovals, but then I'm just making a few marks behind. Kind of tulipy. You can see I am not taking a huge amount of time with all this. I know sometimes Sharpies can just feel a little threatening. Well, we're using a pencil. Nice. Now the little ones with the gold, I kind of like them the way they are. I really do. I think I'm just going to add maybe some stems to them with the pencil. Sketchy. Just so they look a little less floating. And the orange ones, I'm really leaving those on their own. I'm not doing much with that at all. Yeah, I'm liking this. All right, I'm going to just take my pencil and I'm going to make some more marks like this. Now I don't want them floating, so I'm going to just bring whatever might be the bottom. I'm going to add a few pencil stems down there. Oh my goodness. I think that's beautiful. I'm going to use my pencil. $20.25. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you found it helpful, please go ahead and give it a like. It helps my channel tremendously. If you haven't subscribed, well, if you want to break some more blank pages, that's what we're going to be doing soon. In the meantime, a video is going to pop up here for you, and I'm going to add some pictures at the end. Bye now.